right, everyone, welcome to the Downloadable Podcast, episode 32. This week, I am joined with some friends that have YouTube channels. We're going to talk about retro gaming and anime, what got us into it, how it's influenced our lives and made our lives better, or maybe how it's hindered us. We'll just have to see how things go. Who wants to go first?
All right, I'll say hi. I am the Warrior Light. Actually, on YouTube, I go by Jozaros. If you look up Jozaros, this is Jozaros. You'll actually find my channel, which is it will say Warrior Light, and of course, I also Twitch. It's Warrior underscore of underscore Light XI, and that's my Twitch channel as well.
What do you play? I mean, what
what I play? Yeah, I play.
What do people expect when they go to your Twitch?
Actually, what I play Final Fantasy 11. I play mostly Final Fantasy 14. I've been playing other games as well. I've been trying Dead by Daylight, Elden Ring. I got that too, so I've been playing that too a little bit. What other games? But I've been trying other MMOs, and soon I'll be trying to do into content creating. Just trying to find the right time and the right videos to do. So hopefully I can start putting content for my YouTube, and just for Twitch, just leave it for gaming mostly.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Vintage, you want to go next?
Yes. Hello, everybody. I am the Vintage Gamer Boy. On my channel, I do retro video games. I do unboxing videos. I do unboxings of vintage stuff. I talk about topics that come to my head. I do a lot of stuff on my channel, and I also do live streams. And I don't do much of Twitch, but I do a lot on my YouTube channel. I'm trying my best to build an audience so that way I can help out the YouTube community and make it a better place than it rightfully is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mike?
Okay. Yeah, my channel is Miketendo Power. I do a lot of similar stuff. I do video game and monthly unboxings, retro game treasure unboxings. I do like gameplay video recordings, kind of videos of my game collections, or I do, I've unwrap like Garbage Pail Kids, stuff like that, and all kinds of stuff. Talk about toys, whatever. It's a mix of stuff, really.
Yeah, so we all have very similar backgrounds. So, well, as far as gaming, toys, collecting, all that stuff is the things that we love and that get us through the hard times and help us through to the brighter days. So guys, do you want to go into the anime first, or do you want to go into the gaming side of things?
Anime.
I'll go anime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what got y'all into anime?
My first answer is Dragon Ball. You know it. Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, GT, all that. That's the one that gave me look at other animes as well. So that was like one of the things that I was like so interested. I was like, okay, can any other anime be like this? And there was a lot. There was a lot of similarities and stuff. Yeah.
So what got me into anime? I was browsing through Toonami one day and I saw a show called Yu Yu Hakusho. It was made by the same guy that made Hunter x Hunter. So I gave it a watch. I watched a couple of episodes and I just immediately fell in love with the show. Like ever since the first episode I've been watching, Yu Hakusho is basically a show about a 14-year-old juvenile delinquent named Yusuke Urameshi, and he gets hit by a car while he's trying to save a child's life and dies, becomes a spirit detective. But first he has to go through a life ordeal. And then he went through a life ordeal. He comes back to life as a spirit detective. He fights demons and he has to go through like a dark, there's like this one arc in the show where he goes to like the dark tournament arc where he has to fight younger Toguro and elder Toguro, basically the Toguro brothers. And I grew up with other anime, but Yu Hakusho is my favorite. Yu Hakusho all day. Yu Hakusho is life, man. That's all I gotta say.
Nice.
Mike, are you trying to think of what you?
Let's see. Well, the '80s, in the '80s, the early '80s, I think I was really that's when I was first introduced, I guess. Because through syndication, I watched shows like Speed Racer. Uh, Saturday mornings, I'd watch. There was a show called Ulysses 31, I think. It was kind of like a space sci-fi Odyssey kind of take take on the Odyssey.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool. I used to watch, and then later on, like Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, and then uh, one of my favorite creators is Rumiko Takahashi. She did Ranma One Half, Inuyasha, Urusei Yatsura, and all that. I was pretty fond of that stuff. I mean, that really kind of introduced me to like the difference between like East and West comics and like genres and stuff because it's a lot more like open and like I don't know, like it's more than just superhero stuff.
Correct. The
Mm.
storytelling in Western is different. I mean, we build these icons and legends. You think about Marvel and DC with Iron Man and Superman and Batman and Spider-Man and Captain America. They're very serialized. Whereas in like Eastern storytelling, it was this process of like you had a character and they went through a journey. And for me, growing up, like one of the first ones I remember watching, and I loved it, and it kind of spawned my love for mecha and giant robots, was Transor Z, which in
Yeah,
Japan was originally titled Mazinger. And but it was that, and then Robotech, and then Speed Racer, because I mean I was born in '81, so I mean I got that introduction of Eastern and Western at the time because I grew up with He-Man and GI Joe and then Transformers. So it impacted my life very much. And
yeah.
it was one of the things that I wanted to be a shepherd for this amazing stuff that my friends didn't know anything about. So hey guys, come here, check this out. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just
So
amazing. Go ahead.
So I was like born in like 1995,
Mhm.
and I started watching Yu Hakusho. After that, I watched Dragon Ball Z. I wasn't into Sailor Moon that much. I wasn't into Sailor Moon because the show was basically for girls, and my sister she loved Sailor Moon. Like she thought Sailor Moon was her icon because of all the things she did and whatnot, and she just thinks Sailor Moon was like a soap opera, and I got annoyed by that, so I started watching Yu Yu Hakusho, and then I watched Dragon Ball Z, I watched Pokemon, I watched Yu-Gi-Oh. I grew up around the Saturday morning Kids WB era. I grew up with like Mega Man NT Warrior, Metabots,
Oh, wow.
Digimon, Monster
Yeah.
Rancher. How you say a lot of I like anime, and then for Western animation, I grew up with this one show. It was Batman. All the DC animated shows like Batman Beyond. You had your Teen Titans. You had your Static Shock, which is about an African American teenage superhero. You had your
Justice League Unlimited, Justice League series.
your Zeta Project. You had all
Mhm.
these different DC shows. Then you had Marvel shows like Spectacular Spider-Man. You had the '90s animated series, and different Spider-Man cartoons, which I'm a fan of. I'm a giant Spider-Man fan. I grew up with this live-action show called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But first, before I grew up with Power Rangers, I grew up with VR Troopers and Big Bad Beetleborgs, which is also known as Kabuto Beef Fighter in Japan. And then I started watching Mighty Morphin, which is based off the 1992 Sentai Zuri Ranger, which is based off of. And did you know in that series, the Green Ranger, he dies. But in the North American version, they censor this to where Tommy just loses his powers and then he becomes the White Ranger later in season 2. So I grew up around the era of like the 90s era of kids. Like I grew up with like Pokemon, Digimon, you name it, I grew up with it. But I used to watch this I'm gonna tell you a story. I used to watch this one show called But Ugly Martians. Basically,
I remember that.
it was a show about these three Martians that invaded Earth, and they would help the teenagers fight off the other Martians who were evil. Basically, it was a very good show. I remember a lot of decent shows that came out back in the day, but nowadays I don't watch television because it's not the same, and I rely a lot on Hulu and anime websites and Netflix and HBO Max. Have you guys ever watched this show called Ben 10?
Yep.
Or heard of Ben 10? Ben 10?
I heard of it, but I have not seen it. Yeah.
Ben 10 was a show about this boy named Ben Tennyson, Benjamin Kirby Tennyson, right? He was a 10-year-old kid. He was a regular 10-year-old kid, and then he found this device called the Omnitrix, which allows him to turn into 10 different aliens. But then as the series progresses, he turns into like stronger aliens that like give him more power and stuff. It's really cool. Ben 10's a very good series, and I grew up with I not only with Ben 10, but with Thundercats. I remember Thundercats, like the original and the 2011
2011. Yep, that series was fantastic.
Yeah,
Both those series.
and not only that, I grew up with Beyblade. Anybody remember Beyblade? Beyblade was about these kids with spinning tops, and they would have they would
Like
battle.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, they would battle with the tops and stuff. I remember that. Like I remember it would premiere on like ABC Family and all this other stuff. So I'm sorry if I wasted you guys this time. And I'm sorry.
No. This is
so
the
sorry.
time to discuss.
No,
Beyblade was a show about these kids and at tops, and it was an original idea. It was made by It was made by a man named Takawa Yoki. Like he was influenced by tops. Like Beyblade was a huge thing, and it's still ongoing today with Beyblade Burst. Now with Digimon, I'm thinking that it might air on the same network as Beyblade, which is on Disney XD, because I heard on the internet that they're gonna be dubbing the 2020 Digimon anime, which is really cool. And then I watched a lot. I grew up with a lot of anime, like so much that my brain can't handle all of it at once. And I grew up with Western animation. I grew up with some Western shows I grew up with was like Batman Beyond, all DC, all the Marvel stuff. And then I grew up with Spawn, the animated series. And maybe remember that Spawn show?
Yeah,
Spawn,
with
thing I have.
Keith David.
Yeah, Spawn, the animated series. I grew up with that. I grew up with what's that one show? SWAT Cats, Radical Recon Squadron.
Yep.
The Hanna-Barbera cartoon SWAT Cats. I love that show because it was all action. I just loved it. Like then I grew up with some shows, some Cartoon Network shows. I used to watch this one show called Samurai Jack. Y'all ever heard of Samurai Jack?
Oh yeah, that was a big staple for us growing up.
The theme song to the show, it explains how everything goes back to the past, Samurai Jack.
Yeah,
that always that theme song. Oh, it was so catchy. And then Teen Titans, in the original Teen Titans, right? Certain episodes, Puffy Yumi would sing in Japanese. Like they'd go I don't remember the lyrics, but some of the shows some of the episodes, Puffy Yumi, they would sing the Teen Titans theme, but in Japanese.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then it was Batman Beyond. There was Static Shock. Now Static Shock. What can I say about Static Shock? It was an outstanding show back then. It had PSAs, had so much going on with it. But then his popularity was ill-fated. I don't know why, but for some odd reasons, I think they're gonna do like a 5th season of Static Shock. But then WB I believe canceled the show because it was like too many celebrities going on the show at once and not enough DC villains. Like if they would have added like the Joker or Harley, well they did that, but if they would have added like villains from like the Teen Titans like Slade or
they could have, but the problem too, like I know that when production, I didn't even look up what was going on with the show at the time, but I know that I enjoyed watching it. My dad loved it. I mean, anytime there's the comic book character on screen, even on animated form, he's there. So we always watch stuff like that all the time.
Yeah. Originally, Static Shock was supposed to have a crossover with the Teen Titans, but sadly,
Yes.
that never happened.
Mhm.
He did. I think they did with the Young Justice.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they
He did a
did.
couple
They
times.
did.
He did
They
with Young
did. They
Justice,
did.
and well,
Yeah.
and I think even the second, I mean, Justice League Unlimited, he was part of. He had
was
stuff
part
in
of
that.
it.
Yeah,
I love that show. That was
Yeah.
I remember watching that too. I was like, wow, that's a pretty damn good show to have a African American superhero. And it's like that's good. That's something new.
Guys, did you know that
Yeah.
Static Shock was a part of Milestone Comics?
Yep. Mhm.
But then, as the comic book studio was come to a close, all the Milestone comic characters crossed over into DC Comics, and then that's what we got today. So, yeah,
that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
man, it was so crazy back then. So, Vince, whatever questions do you have for us? I'm
Okay, no
ready.
problem. Yeah, it's all right. So, and then just a note on that as well. It's amazing if you ever want to look at the history of comic books and how like certain characters came to be. Like, it's amazing. Like how there's two Captain Marvels, you know, and I'm not just talking
yeah.
about Carol Danvers, but Marvel and
Marvel.
Yeah.
Shazam.
Shazam.
But so yeah, let's go to the next one. So, do you prefer films or TV series for anime?
I prefer television series. I would say.
I like both. I really like both.
I'm gonna go Warrior,
good.
but I like both too, man.
I like both, man.
I like
Because
both
it's good to
together.
see a series, and then all of it. When you see a series, it comes to a movie, and I think that's really interesting.
and then an OVA.
Yeah, that is like interesting because like what they did with Dragon Ball, and then they have a movie, and not just Dragon Ball, the Hunter. What was he called? That Demon Hunter is also another one.
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer. I'm sorry.
Demon Slayer.
Yeah, Demon Slayer. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but I heard that one also became a movie. Pokemon was another one.
Yeah,
Pokemon was real famous for that too.
My Hero Academia.
That one too. That was a really good one. I love that
And
one.
not only that, but Yu Yu Hakusho had an OVA, but one in North America, one in Japan. They're originally like here's the thing with Yu Yu Hakusho.
Mhm.
They were going to originally get all the voice actors to reprise their roles,
Mhm.
but it got canceled because why? Yoshiro Tagashi wasn't in a Yu Yu Hakusho mood because he was busy with other projects at the time, so it sadly got canceled. So
Yeah.
yeah,
those are sad things that happen.
Yeah,
I have a question for y'all. Was Transformers an anime too? Because I believe it was.
No. Transformers was American. Like
It was American.
It was done. It was
wait.
done with the Japanese studio, but the stories were all done by Marvel Comics actually.
Yeah.
Oh, cool! Like they did with the Power Rangers.
Hmm.
When it was marked back, but nowadays it's Boom Studios. So yeah,
It's like,
what can you say? But guys, here's the thing. Like I remember when a lot of stuff that was going to come on television would get canceled. Like for example, this anime that I love so much called Mega Man Star Force. It was basically what happens after the Battle Network series. Basically, they're going to dub all the 52 episodes of the first season and stop after the first season. But then sadly, it got canceled after 13 episodes because why? Tsunami was basically promoting the video games and it didn't do so well in North America. So that's the whole story behind it. And
was that like a CGI cartoon?
No, Mega Man Star Force was all anime. It was like a show about a boy named Geo Stellar.
I know which one you're talking about, Mike. Though, yeah,
he was a kid and he lost his father, and he and he meets an alien named Omegasis, and when the EM wave change, he becomes Mega Man.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I recommend you
Check
get
it
into that, but the sub
that out.
I recommend the subbed version, not the dubbed version.
Okay.
The dub is good, but it only has 13 episodes, so the sub version has all the episodes. But like in cartoons like are based off video games. I think that that was a pretty good concept. Like for example, Pokemon, it started out as a video game, but then became a very popular anime, and people were loving it. And then same with how you say like I know a lot, like Sonic the Hedgehog. If I had an anime, it was called Sonic X. It
Yeah,
would
that was
come
like
on
the second series, I think, for
like
Sonic.
like Fox Box, and it had like 3 seasons, and after that it ends with Chris Thorndike going back home to like his home world or something, and Sonic could run off in the distance.
Voltron
Yeah.
was another one that was a good one too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Voltron.
So Mike,
It was another one.
what do you prefer?
Oh, I mean, it depends. Like certain things, like Cowboy Bebop, the movie versus the series. I'm gonna choose a series, but
Yeah.
uh, man, I don't know.
Well, I think of those things like that are companion pieces. So, like, you have the Full Metal Alchemist series, right? The first one.
You had the original, and you had Brotherhood.
Right. And you had the 2 movies. One was for one movie and one for one series and one. Now I consider those together. Now I'm thinking of like movies, like for me, it would be Akira, Venus Wars,
Yeah,
stuff like that. The Vampire Hunter D 1 and 2, Vampire Hunter D, Bloodlust, and then there's a lot. Memories, which is a vignette.
My favorite Ninja Scroll.
Ninja Scroll, yeah,
Yeah.
and which didn't end up getting a series itself, but wasn't actually like really connected.
Yeah,
to
it was
kind of a redo of
Yeah.
the story.
totally different style to the
Yes.
art and everything.
Mhm.
Arts and everything, yeah.
Yeah. So you guys, my favorite animes besides Yu Yu Hakusho, I like what was it about? Favorite anime besides Yu Yu Hakusho, it would be Pokemon, either between I like a lot of the anime that involve humans battling with monsters or working alongside monsters, like Digimon, for example. Or I liked a lot of that. I liked a lot of Monster Rancher, all the good stuff. And then I started getting into the mech anime. I got really into, like I got into like Neon Genesis Evangelion, Mobile Suit Gundam, Robotech, Macross, you name it. I got into it, and I used to collect the action figures. My cousin had a lot of action figures, like for Dragon Ball Z, for Yu Yu Hakusho, for Hunter x Hunter. He had so many action figures, it made my freaking head spin, dude. My cousin Michael was a collector, and that's what he said. Levon, you should collect, and he encouraged me.
Yeah.
That's why I got like a. If you look, if I could show you right now, I got a whole thing full of Beyblades. I'm getting one off of eBay. It's like a limited edition Beyblade that was never before seen in the anime.
Mhm.
It's from the Metal Fight anime. Beyblade, it consists of Beyblade Metal Fusion, Metal Masters, Metal Fury, and Shogun Steel, basically. So yeah, I'm getting a Beyblade that was never before seen in the anime from eBay in the mail. So and I'm also gonna be doing that unboxing video, which is really cool. So yeah.
No,
I have a whole
cool.
thing full of Beyblades, but my cousin, he got me into collecting like video games and all this other stuff, and yeah, it was so much fun.
Part of that was what?
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh,
Jose, and I'll go after you.
The part of that was like, with anime, I think there was some also what intrigued me a lot was animation from Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Street Fighter had some anime, and I wish they implemented that in their video games.
Well, they did with 5. Actually,
With
they did with
5.
4 and 5. There was an animated movie for 4, and then they had like some animated cutscenes that they were going to work into with 5, but it ended up doing completely all CGI.
Complete CGI, yeah. And that was interesting. I like that, especially with that kind of stuff like that. It's really interesting.
That goes into the whole thing too, is like, I have another question I'm going to ask, and technically, Vintage already answered his question, but like for you guys, I'll pose this question. What's your favorite anime of all time?
Ooh.
I know it's a tough one. There's some good stuff out there.
There's some good stuff out there.
I mean, if you're talking about series, I love Ghost in the Shell. I love that
Oh
world.
yeah.
I love everything about it. And if that's, but it's not my favorite, but it's there. It's up there. You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Standalone complex.
mm-hmm. For me, another one would be Macross Plus. Fantastic OVA.
Yeah.
Fantastic music, everything. Bryan Cranston as the main, as Osamu Dyson. Just that whole cast was great. And you could see how that animation and everything that they used for that anime transitioned over to Cowboy Bebop, because a lot of the people that worked on that ended up working on Cowboy Bebop.
Cool. No, I recently watched this one anime on Netflix. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of it. It's called The Seven Deadly Sins.
Yeah, I watched the first season. It's good.
That's good. I like it. Yeah, that's a good one. As,
go
ahead.
I was gonna say probably like one of my favorites though was definitely like the whole Hellsing Ultimate, I guess.
Hellsing, yeah, that's great.
Hellsing, yeah.
Great series.
There's the original Hellsing, and then it was Hellsing Ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I would say Dragon Ball Z is the whole series was my favorite, but then again, there's other ones, and I want to be like the Dragon Ball guy, but I'm gonna have to put Dragon Ball. It's the grandfather of all anime.
I have to put my Dragon Ball pedestal over this
way, and I'm gonna have to give someone another credit.
I'm a Yu Yu Hakusho guy. I have to put Yu Yu Hakusho over my as my banner on my channel or something. I'm gonna be a Yu Yu Hakusho YouTuber. I like to get into like the concept of the show, get into like how the show became to be and everything, and get into like what it was influenced by.
See, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Those are the things I actually like watching, is looking at some of these documentaries about how this was made or what went into this, the process, for film. I mean, that was one of the things for me, is that I wanted to be a director when I was younger. I was going to school for film, but life goes, no, we're going to turn you this way and you're going to go this way. What is one anime, regardless if it's series, movie, OVA, whatever, would you recommend to somebody new who's never seen anime whatsoever?
I would recommend to that person Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay. Mike?
Since we're gonna switch it up to games, I'm gonna go ahead and say High Score Girl.
That's a fantastic anime. Fantastic anime.
That was on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on there or not, but
I think it is. I have to look, but last time I checked, I thought it was. But I could have been that High Score that documentary that they did was.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think there's only like 2 seasons. I don't remember.
Yeah, there's only 2 seasons, but that High School Girl is fantastic. It is. If you want to watch anime that represents like us as kids growing up into that, it represents us right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So Jose?
For me, I think it depends on the person. If I know this person is like never watched an anime, always watch soap operas, I will recommend her Naruto. If this person likes robots and this and that, Gundam. Gundam will be another thing. It depends on the person. And like I said, I think Gundam series was a good one too itself, and Naruto were also good animes to actually recommend to. Depend on the person as well.
Yeah,
what they like, because they like drama.
So for me, this has always been my go-to ever since I watched this movie. I mean, the OVA series, and I've already mentioned it. It's Macross Plus. That was always the one that I was like, if you've never seen anime, you need to watch this, because it's just beautifully done. The music, the atmosphere. There's drama, there's action, there's comedy. It has every element for storytelling. But so let's transition into games. Games are a big part of our lives growing up. It's helped us get through tons of difficult times in our lives. It's one of the things, whenever everything was really hard, we could always escape into video games. But video games are also the things that connect us to, who we are right now and the people we meet. It doesn't matter of what your color skin you were, your creed, your background, nothing. Video games bring everybody together. Now, you may get those trolls, or you may get those people that are like, they're casual gamers, but they're all gamers. We all have to deal with these things. People want to be competitive. it's a whole different market than what it was. I mean, a different world than what it was back in the day. You know, for us, it was like, oh, that's cool. But remember, teachers would be like, you're playing Nintendo. You need to stop playing Nintendo. Do your homework. Hey, lady, it's 1995 or 1996. The PlayStation's out. That's what I'm playing. I'm not playing Nintendo.
Yeah, you gotta be specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll start. My first video game console that I ever owned was surprisingly not an NES because my mom had the NES. She gave me for my 5th birthday a Sega Master System. And I had games like the first game I ever got was Fantasy Star, and that game was so amazing. It was a story about this female protagonist. Her brother died, and she wanted to avenge her brother. So she goes out on this quest, and you got to collect items and weapons and booster stats and stuff. It's really fun. I love Fantasy Star. Then I played Sonic the Hedgehog. I played Altered Beast, Kid Chameleon, Rise Star, you name it, I played it. And then later, I got the Sega Genesis, and it came bundled with the Sega CD. I got that for my 8th birthday. I got a Sega Genesis and a Sega CD, and it came with Sonic 1, 2, 3. I got Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic C. I got all the Sonic games, and I played them.
That's an epic bundle right there.
I fell in love with Sonic, and then I started watching the shows. But let's get back into gaming. So I played Sonic. I played Mega Man. My mom would sometimes let me play the NES, and I would play either Final Fantasy, Castlevania, Contra, Mega Man, or the other game, Black Manta or something, or I think it was Black Manta or something. I don't remember, but
there was
yeah. I would play that, and maybe I would play Mega Man because Mega Man was my favorite, especially the Ruby Spears cartoon that came out back then. Mega Man was this really good game about this robot. It was based off of Astro Boy, and we have like you would like the power to like steal like how you say absorb the raw masters and gain their abilities and stuff. It's a really good series. Mega Man was a very good series. I played that a lot. I'll play Final Fantasy. But the thing is, back then I sucked at RPGs. I sucked at them hard. So I had to rely on my sister and my cousin for guidance because I was terrible at it. Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link, I was horrible at that game. I died so many times, it made my head spin. So my sister showed me the right way, and she eventually beat the game, and I was surprised. And then later, we got, you guessed it, the Super Nintendo and the N64. Then we got the PlayStation, we got the original, we got the PS2, we got the Game Boy Advances. We had a bunch of stuff. We got like my first Nintendo console that I ever owned was a GameCube, and the first game I got for the system was Beautiful Joe. Beautiful Joe was like this beat 'em up that was made by Capcom, and you play this like kid named Joe, and his girlfriend got kidnapped, and she got sucked inside the movie, and you had to go and rescue her. But you're a superhero, and you have to like fight off these like armies of like bad guys, and you have to fight. It was a fun game. I recommend Beautiful Joe. That and the sequel and Red Hot Rumble. Those games alone make the GameCube worth it. And although the first party Nintendo titles like Luigi's Mansion, Mario Sunshine, Metroid Prime, you name it, they had it. And also we can't have the GameCube without Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Definitely can.
Especially the N64. The N64 had Smash Brothers too, but it was the very first Smash Brothers. And I remember when I was playing that game, I unlocked Luigi. Luigi was the last character I unlocked, and I had a very fun time with that. And then Smash Melee comes out, like, holy hot damn, that game is fun.
Damn, Vintage, you got it, man.
Yeah. But I had a whole one. Our family was like the gaming family. I was a Sega kid. I didn't grow up a Nintendo kid. I grew up a Sega kid. My friends were all Nintendo fans. I was a Sega fan. And I remember one time at lunch, right? We would argue over who's better, Nintendo or Sega, and I'd be like, Sega's better because blast processing the Genesis. Genesis does what Nintendo don't, and all sort of stuff. We would like argue at lunch and all sort of stuff. It was crazy.
We're having me and Jose are having our moment here of like reminiscent of our shenanigans. So don't worry. Oh my gosh!
Because I remember that. I used to do that too. We used to have these arguments, which was better. We used to do all that stuff. So we got into it. Like honestly, sometimes we got into it to the point they got to
emotional damage.
That's what's gonna happen. You get that emotional damage in there. We used to argue. We used to be mad at each other. Sega's better than Nintendo.
We were so mad at each other, and then it would be. We weren't friends for the rest of that day, and the next day we'd say, "Hey man, what's up? Let's go. We're gonna have lunch at the same table." Yeah. Hey, did you see this game? Did you see this?
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. Let's see. First console I had was like Atari 2600. That's probably around 1980 or so. I was like 5, I guess. I remember I had ET, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing as a kid, but it was fun, even though it's
not
garbage.
ET was awful. Like I remember people there was like a graveyard for ET.
Yeah,
because the game did so poorly in sales.
They buried so many copies in the desert.
It's the one game that that killed the video game industry.
They made more copies of ET than there were Ataris.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. Well, yeah, the next system I think I owned was a Sega Master System, and that was probably like the most sentimental console I had. Like, I just had so much fun.
The Master System was popular in Brazil, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's more popular. Had a way bigger following and a lot more games than North America.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because back then I had Shinobi, and that was so much like the art. I mean, not exactly like the arcade, but it played almost exactly like it in a sense.
Yeah.
It had all the levels and the bosses and everything. Games like Double Dragon, it was actually 2 players compared to the Nintendo one.
Oh wow, I remember that now. That was cool.
Yeah.
Choplifter was pretty.
I got something I have to say. You guys are cool cats. I'm not gonna lie. You guys are like the best friends I never had. Like growing up, I had friends that would like play Nintendo, but then they moved on from it and they stopped playing video games. Some of them went to college and became they had different careers. Like I had a friend who became a doctor. I had another friend who became a lawyer and all that other stuff. And I was just still the same me. And so I like to say that you guys are the best. I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the best things that ever happened to me, and I would like to thank Vince for that, mainly Vince, because he's amazing. I love him. I love his Discord server, his YouTube channel, everything. If I could, I would promote his channel, but I would so do it. I will one day. I will, because his Discord server, his YouTube channel is just awesome. I love it so much. It was the best.
So, I'm going to sidestep real quick, and I know Mike loves when Mike can finish his stuff, but growing up, my house was like this. It was always welcoming for everybody. Anybody could come in the house. I mean, not come in the house, but like if it was a friend, that we knew, or just people we would meet and stuff, and my dad approved, he didn't care, and he was always an ear for anybody to come in. It didn't matter who you were, what was going on in your life. Our house was a refuge for everyone. We all gamed together. We all watched movies together. We chatted. We just hung out and did everything. It was always welcoming. And that's what I want to bring to this podcast, to bring that level of what I grew up with and what my friends grew up with, and bring it with this channel. So
Yeah, my
thinking,
my grandma was like that too. Like my grandma would welcome people with open arms that had problems, and they would let, and like how your father would like let people in that it didn't matter who you were. My grandma would just let that person in because she really, she's a very nice and loving, caring um lady back then. Until but by the time I went to elementary school, my grandmother, my grandma and my grandfather passed away, and I was heartbroken. But my foster parents cheered me up, and they said, "Your grandmother and your grandfather will always be in your heart. Remember that, Levon." And I learned that lesson from the day on. So, yeah, I love this podcast. This podcast is just outstanding. Vince, I like to say, if I were to rate your podcast, I give it a 10 out of 10, man. It was so good just to be on here, just to chat with y'all, just to have fun. But all good things must come to an end because I have work tomorrow. I gotta get off
yeah,
right
no problem.
now.
And I
I
can
have to,
finish with them and stuff. That's fine.
I gotta get off because I gotta go to work tomorrow. So thank you so much, Vince. Thank you, Warrior of Light, and thank you, Miketendo. Miketendo, I will subscribe to you, okay?
All right.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to subscribe to you.
Yeah, I gotta get off
Same
right now.
here.
So
No problem.
I'm
Buddy.
Okay, man.
Thanks for-
I'm already a fan. I'm already subscribed to you, Warrior of Light. I'm subscribed.
Oh
to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had to
But-
look into it. I had to like look for you actually and subscribe to you. So it's vintage, right? It's called
Yeah,
vintage.
the vintage gaming boy.
Yeah.
Vintage
That's
gaming
me.
boy. All right, I'll follow you and subscribe to you as well.
All right. Check you guys later. Peace out.
problem.
And
Peace out, man.
have a
Thanks,
good one,
Vintage.
you guys.
It's good talking
You
with you.
too.
All right. Bye bye.
All right. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he was wanted to be on the show, so I wanted to have him on. And it's therapeutic session every times for everybody. So
It is, man. It is. It's
You know,
awesome.
Yeah.
but so Mike, if you want to continue and stuff, because then he can at least watch this later on, so it's not like he's
Yeah.
missing anything.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. See, after Sega, I had the Nintendo NES. God, some of the earliest games I had then were like, I think the first games I had were so horrible. I had like Major League Baseball. I had Racket Attack. I don't know. They were like hand me downs, and I have no idea how I ever even got them. It just came with my Nintendo. I don't even remember how I got my Nintendo. Like, I guess my mom got it from somebody or something. I don't know. But then after with the Nintendo, with Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. Yeah, I had most systems. I didn't have TurboGrafx, but my
I didn't
brother
either.
did.
I never did.
Yeah. I could never afford the Neo Geo. Didn't even.
No,
There's like
it was
no
like
way I was gonna.
going into EB Games and seeing it on the shelf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
insane price tag.
Or Babbage's at the time, because if we're going to talk about old school, it was Babbage's that we went to back then.
Yeah, Funko Land,
Hmm.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
and I had PlayStation, Saturn. Well, Saturn then PlayStation. The Dreamcast, PS2, PS3, Xbox 360. I never owned the Xbox One or the Series X
Oh wow.
yet,
Yeah.
and still don't have a PS5.
I know. I'm looking for one for Bones now too.
You gotta cap those. Yeah, you gotta actually be on top of those things. Actually,
Yeah.
I had to talk to my cousin. He works for Walmart. He got his from Walmart. So
Well, and in my brother-in-law who keeps looking out and finding them, he finds his at Best Buy. So
oh wow.
that's how he got
Yeah.
mine and his twice.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Twice.
So
I just found out Verizon sells them. I went and checked, and they're gone.
yeah, Jose, you want to go into yours real quick, and then
Yeah.
well, because it doesn't have to be what consoles you own. If you just want to talk about like whatever
Games that well, I've played like it wasn't really my console. I was a kid. It was Atari. Atari was one of my first games, and then the Nintendo. I remember it wasn't my system. It actually belonged to one of my. It was like it was a family that I used to live with. I usually call them like my aunt, but they're not really
Yeah.
blood aunt or anything like that. So I used to live with this family, and their boyfriend had the Nintendo. They brought it over and played. I got to play the Atari first. I got to play the Nintendo with that what was that called with the gun where you had to shoot
Yeah.
the duck down.
Duck
It
Hunt?
was a Duck Hunt. Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to play that. That was my one of the first games I played. It was really enjoyable. And he bought this little robot that went with the Nintendo.
Yeah, Rob.
The Rob, yeah, and that was just my first experience. I was like, "Wow, this is fun." Of course, when he ended up breaking up with my hat, I never got to see the Nintendo anymore. So my first system was basically the Super Nintendo. It took me a while to buy it, but then my mom eventually got it for me. I was so hooked into it. I remember Akbar lending me his Nintendo, and all I did was play Mario, and I wouldn't even leave the house. I didn't want to leave because it was so much fun. I was enjoying it. But after I passed it, I was like, okay, now I can go and do whatever. But yeah, that was my first console. My console was Super Nintendo, and after that, later on, I ended up getting a PS2. Ended up getting Xbox as well, and eventually getting some other games in there. I did win it. I did wanted to get a PC, but at the time I wasn't getting a PC yet until I started to work at Walmart, and I became a PC guy. Now I'm not a console no more. I got out of consoles because it was just nothing but wars. I was like, I don't like
Shame,
war
man.
stuff.
Shame. You could be playing
No,
Tekken with us and stuff.
I know, but I have to stop the war, the game console war. No more wars.
There is no
Now we
war.
got to-
We
There's
make
still
enough money
wars.
now to be able to buy both. It's like,
Actually, yeah. I mean, yeah, I could. I mean, I could get me a PS5, but I was like, maybe in the future I might get one
Yeah.
because here comes Final Fantasy 14 being enhanced with better graphics,
mhm.
and now I have to either get a PS5 or get me a better graphics card, and that's another problem. That's another story about graphics cards. I don't know. Oh no.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, everything is now good graphics, but not all games have to have good graphics to be fun. I
No,
think
they
that's one
don't.
thing. It has to have a good story. It has to have, I don't know, anything with gaming. Like I said, I came from Street Fighter. I love Street Fighter. I love the story of Street Fighter. Everything about that. I was so addicted to the fighting games, but inside of my heart, I was an adventurer because I started to play MMO games and I got hooked with Ultima Online. Ultima Online was my first MMO, and then
I
EverQuest.
blame Steven for this one.
That's Steven's fault. Yeah, he got me hooked into this. He really did, and I loved it. I loved EverQuest, and then Final Fantasy 11, my true love right there. And I was like, wow, Vince was playing with this. How come this one isn't playing like his games? It looks a little different, but it was an MMO, but it was different, and the story was just epic, really good. I mean, Vince met his wife there.
Yeah.
I met my wife there. I mean, my ex, my ex. We're friends now. We're actually best friends. But we actually played Final Fantasy 14. But it was there was just that. It was just an amazing game. But I'll let you go, Vince. Now.
So
Too much.
all right. So for me, my dad had an Atari, and he also had quite a few of the other Intellivision stuff like that. And I can't remember some of the stuff he had. I know he had one of like the old, the one that looks like an old computer that you'd put the games in and everything. I'd have to ask him.
Odyssey?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And so keep in mind, like this stuff was like I was really young at the time, If I was born in 81, this stuff is this. Well, but the first console that I played actually owned, and technically I didn't own it. It was my sister's. So my uncle got me and my sister gifts for Christmas. I think it was the year that following Christmas from the Nintendo was released. And my dad and my Uncle Roger were working construction, and my dad would always go to Toys R Us And Roger's like, well, I want to go get the kids some Christmas gifts, so let's go. And I have no clue. I don't even remember what he got me, and that's sad. I love my Uncle Roger. May he rest in peace. He passed away years ago, like when my sister was still in, I'd say like 2002, 2003 when he passed away. If I remember correctly, he had tuberculosis, I think, or something like that. And then, but this is way back before all that stuff. But yeah, he goes, well, I'm gonna get something nice for Ember, and he got her the Nintendo, and I got whatever, and I was like super ecstatic. Oh my gosh, I got this Nintendo. This is awesome. Video games, because I know that for some people, like when Nintendo was kind of the birth of our gaming generation, really. I mean, we had all these other like systems that were, gaming consoles, but they weren't like Nintendo was that next step up. Same thing with the Sega Master System. It was it's what defined gaming besides arcades. Yeah. So I grew up going to the arcades and being able to have a home console to be able to play arcade games, even though it had its own proprietary software, was fantastic. So it became my system. And my sister would always joke, that's actually my system, right? I think I only had maybe 12 games for it total, because we rented everything. But I had Contra, Blaster Master, I think I had Super C at one point. But I did have, Blaster Master, Contra, of course, Mario 1, 2, and 3. I had professional or whatever, or it's kind of based off of the Japanese
13.
Go 13, yeah. The Silver Surfer, Batman, Sunsoft Batman.
Yeah.
Come on. There's a Castlevania 2.
Yeah.
Because we didn't actually own 1, we owned 2 only. And then my dad was so angry whenever he found out 3 came out, and it didn't have the same like quest system that was designed in 2, and it was back to form for like the first Castlevania. He's like, I don't want to play this, so I didn't play Castlevania 3 until like later on. But when Super Castlevania came out for the Super Nintendo, we played that. Every Castlevania after that I played, except for Rondo of Blood, until later on, when it got released on the PSP. But we actually, I'd have to think about it. There was a couple other games that we had that were big things, but most of the stuff we rented. It was either Hollywood, Blockbuster, or some of these like mom and pop shops that we would go, that were rental places that we would go. But we ended up trading it in at a kiosk inside Alameda Mall. That was a little kiosk gaming little area or whatever. It was like this one dude, and he had all this stuff, and that's how I got my Super Nintendo. We traded all my stuff in to get, except for my Contra and Blaster Master. Those are the only 2 games I have of my original games. Only 2. Those are the ones I wanted to keep. So we got a Super Nintendo, and because my dad had to pay the rest of what we traded, it was his Super Nintendo, even though it should have been half of mine or half of my sister's. And we got Castlevania, and then Super Metroid, and I think something else. I can't remember what the other game was. Getting a Genesis from a buddy at my dad's work, and that had like Kid Chameleon, Sonic 1, Altered Beast. There was some good title. Was it Joe Montana Sports Talk Football? I never played it.
Oh my god, yeah.
But I'm not a sports guy. I mean, I'll play basketball or baseball games on a rare occasion, but I'm not a sports guy.
Yeah.
Unless Square Enix decides to make and this is a thing out to you, Square Enix, you need to take Blitzball from Final Fantasy X and make it a standalone sports game. I would totally be down to play that. Please let me have it.
That would be fun. That's what Final Fantasy 14 community has been asking for.
Blitzball.
They have
Blitzball would be
Blitzball.
fantastic.
There would be
That'd be fantastic.
it'd be like a PvP thing, like
So-
Hutball in Star Wars. Basically, kind of like that.
And then we ended up getting the Sega CD. We rented the 32X. We never actually owned a 32X. Next thing we got, and it wasn't actually we got it, but my dad helped pay for it, was the Atari Jaguar. Why? For Alien versus Predator. That was it. And Tempest 2000. So these are only two games besides Cybermorph that came with the game that we had. But that Alien versus Predator game was like it. That was the game to play for us. It was like running around as the Predator, going or the alien, and like doing the whole tactile attack to cocoon the Marines and stuff, so that way you have backup aliens to be if you happen to die. But the main thing to play that game was for is playing the Colonial Marine and going through the maps. It's just a fantastic game, and it's sad that game has never been ported to any console ever. And we've gotten these other Alien vs Predator games, we've never gotten that one. And the same thing almost is going to say about the Alien vs Predator game of the arcade one that Capcom did. A lot of it's licensing, and they did that whole Capcom controller with the 15 games that I wanted to get, but I heard the emulation wasn't that great on it. But after that, it was like we got the PlayStation, we got the 64, but we didn't get the 64 until Zelda Ocarina of Time came out. We didn't get the Sega Saturn until I decided to trade in my Super Nintendo to get one, because I wanted to play it, because I was a Shining Force fan. And when I found out there was a Shining Force 3, I had to play the game. That was like the reason why I got the system. So I traded in my Super Nintendo. I kept my copy of Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 2, and Chrono Trigger at the time, because I didn't have my Chrono Trigger, because that's a whole story. I want to do a whole episode on that myself. But and then the rest of it, I just let it go, and I got my Saturn, and then I had a buddy who had a friend that became really, really close with me, and he had a bunch of games he was selling, so I bought his games. So I got like Panzer Dragoon 2, Tomb Raider, Daytona USA, like 2 other games. And then it was like my birthday, I asked my grandmother to pick me up Shining Force 3 and stuff. And so she drove me out to Baybrook Mall, and it was the last copy they had on the shelf, and I got it. And of course, I don't have it now because I was an idiot and traded it in. And that's the one game that if I can, I'm going to have it again, just so that way, in memory of my grandmother. Even if it's going to cost me an arm and a leg, I will do whatever I can to get that game, because it has that much sentimental value to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then after that, it was like I just bought everything. I mean, every console that's come out after the PS2, I've picked up, except for the Dreamcast. Dreamcast was the one thing that I didn't pick up until later on, because I was a Sony boy. Console wars.
Yeah, he was Sony, I was Sega.
And you know what?
Sega died, and I died.
And I love my emotion engine, because my emotion engine is what gets me by. I didn't have any what?
Emotional damage.
All right.
That's
Sorry.
what it
So I'll put it this way. I'll pose the question as this for you, both of you guys. How was gaming influential in your life? Is there things that, like, moments in your life that you felt that if you didn't have gaming, maybe this would have happened in your life, or you may not have met a person that made your life better?
Ooh. Like, I don't know. Like, when I grew up with my playing. Like, I used to stay over at my uncle's house a lot, and my early childhood, I gamed a lot with my cousins. Like, they usually had all the systems before I could ever get them, like Atari, NES, ColecoVision. I was always, playing from early on, and I guess my love, like my, it's like a weird bond. I don't know. I can't quit games. I don't know. I love it. Another, well, I guess, yeah, one of the main reasons I do play games is definitely because of like Street Fighter 2, because I've sunk in so many quarters in that game. It's unbelievable. In the old apartments I used to live in as a teenager, we had like a little store, and they had like Street Fighter 2. That's like where it first caught on to it. I'd always go after school, straight over there, play the kids. And sometimes I get my ass beat. Sometimes I beat someone's ass. It was all fun. It was all good. I was learning moves. People are doing the guy with handcuffs on me, and go, "What the hell is that?" And
Yeah.
tripping out. I don't know. So many
Yep.
good times, I guess.
That crouch and Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom, and so they moving forward and flash kick.
Yeah.
Flash kick.
This place used to have WrestleFest too, and
Nice.
they would rotate every now and then. They'd have the little Neo Geo, the Samurai Showdown. It's the first time I ever played that, or Art of Fighting. Like, oh man, I, I guess fighting is my favorite genre, pretty much. I guess.
Yeah, that's most of us. Besides RPGs, for me, the
Yeah.
fighting games are my bread and butter.
The first RPG I think I ever played was Dragon Warrior on the NES. Man, it was pretty difficult without a strategy guide.
Yes.
There's like just some parts I would never complete without it. Definitely. Yeah. But
So,
I love
yeah.
I love other games too, like Ninja Gaiden, stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Oh yeah, adventure games like that was fun. When he mentioned Ninja Gaiden, now you get that out. Ninja Gaiden was another game that I actually enjoyed.
Fantastic.
I like the adventure games. Me personally, I think there was a bond. Like he was saying earlier, Mike was saying you get a bond. That's what made me have a bond for adventure games, not just for MMOs, but it's just adventures itself, because your mind wanders off, and it's like, wonder if they're going to create another one. They're going to make a part 2 of it.
Mhm.
They have a good storyline. Shinmu had another good storyline. Those things make me think, okay, hopefully they'll make another one. It makes you think a lot.
It was so original at the time.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
mini games, like that was kind of new.
Yeah.
Like all the arcade games.
And it's funny too, because you think about, like, we got 2 Shimu games, right? Unfortunately, Japanese got both versions of the game on the Dreamcast, but you think about that team left to work on the series we know today as the Yakuza series, which is so much of an improvement over Shimu.
Oh yeah.
Who was the team?
Just there's certain key members that worked on Shimu that ended up moving over to work on the Yakuza series. Not the main guy who created Shimu.
Okay.
I can't remember his name. Series that impact my life. I mean, fighting games are big. Street Fighter, Tekken, Virtual Fighter, Virtua Fighter, not virtual.
Yeah.
Killer Instinct, even though I wasn't a big fan of it, but I enjoyed playing it. But Mortal Kombat's Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, and Ultimate, fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. That series left a mark on, our generation hardcore. And but with fighting games, it brought more friends, because I could go and play, and then you would make friends with people. And then especially it's like we would go to the arcade, and it was like when the ports came, let's go back to Vince's or whoever's house, and we're going to play them on the consoles and stuff. And we'd play them for hours. But, Metal Gear is another series that I love very much, and I'm a big fan of. And it's just sad to see the state of Konami and, what happened with them and Kojima, and them not finishing Metal Gear Solid 5. That game is only like 2 parts in. There's supposed to be 5 parts to that game, and we only got 2. Like, why would you put all this time to develop the Fox engine and not utilize it to its fullest? I was always hoping that we would get Metal Gear 1 remade with the Fox engine. Because those Metal Gear 1 and 2 on the MSX should have been remade to fit in with line with the other series with Solid and everything.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. Final Fantasy was another big one. It's funny because like I know Mike was talking about Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest being his first RPG. I played, and I talked. This is funny because I was talking to somebody on Twitter about this. Somebody was asking about what was your first RPG, and for me, I go, "Oh yeah, it's the Marvel superheroes from TSR, the tabletop," because that was the first RPG I ever played. It wasn't D&D; it was that. And but my first video game RPG, because I wasn't playing RPGs, I was playing more platformers, more action games. Metroidvanias, stuff like that, than I was RPGs for video games. I didn't know that there was like, Dragon Quest 1 through 5 and Final Fantasy 1 and Fantasy Star and all that stuff. I mean, well, I knew about Fantasy Star when Genesis stuff came out, like 2, 3, and 4, but I didn't know about the first one on the Master System. I didn't have a Master System. We had people who had it, but I never had one. And but my first RPG was Final Fantasy 3 or 6. So, and it wasn't until then there was that game that made me branch off even more, because it's like, if I can get the same level of story, character development, and gameplay with the turn-based, because I was used to it. I have been playing RPGs, tabletop RPGs for years. I was used to the whole thing. Wait your turn. And if you have like 12 people playing a campaign when my dad was running, all right. And you're sitting there plotting out your move and what you're going to do next. And then when it was your turn, bam, roll. Hey, I looked out. I got a 100. What's going to happen now, Dad? So for me, it was the whole thing of like, when I found out about RPGs, I was like, man. Then it was Final Fantasy 2. Then it was Mystic Quest. Even though Mystic Quest was an introductory game, I still enjoyed it because it was like I couldn't get enough of RPGs, and I enjoyed what it was. So then it was like Breath of Fire and Breath of Fire 2 and Lufia and all these other ones. And then it started branching back into like the old Nintendo and then onto the Sega. I love tactical RPGs, Shining Force and all that. And then PlayStation was the golden era of, it was like we went into this golden era, the start of the golden era with the Super Nintendo. And then when the PlayStation came out, it was barren up until, because the first RPG we got on the PlayStation was Beyond the Beyond. And that was actually developed by the same team that did Shining Force. And if you look, some of the art styles very similar. Some people may know that, some people may not. Same thing with the next game after that, I think was, if it wasn't Persona, it was
Wild Arms or
Wild Arms was one. So it's like
Suikoden.
Yeah, Suikoden. It was like Suikoden, Wild Arms, Persona, and then Final Fantasy 7. It was like
As
it
Your
was
Dreams.
Yeah, As Your Dreams. Yeah, it was so barren with RPGs, and I was like, man, I want an RPG. I want an RPG. But then I had Tomb Raider, and then it introduced me to the Polygon era, and then it like the whole platformers and everything. And that first Tomb Raider was fantastic.
Yeah.
When I was introduced to Uncharted, I had a buddy at work who was telling, you need to play the series. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I'm like, I don't know if I want to play it. Then I want to play it. I was like, oh my God, this game is amazing. Why did I pick this up back then? And there's been moments in my life where like I see a game and I'm just like, And one of my big mistakes on that is Earthbound. It's because of our mutual friend, Jonathan Cutshall, that he had it. I was like, he goes, you need to check this game out. And I was like, okay, sure. I played it, and I think I just finished Pokemon Yellow at the time. I was like, oh my God, this game is amazing. You're telling me that big box that I saw at freaking Blockbuster for the longest time, I didn't even know what it was, and that's an RPG? Man, I could have rented this a long time ago and I've been in love with this and had my dad buy it for me for my birthday or Christmas. And then on top of that, it was like, I remember walking into Toys R Us and seeing like tons of these in the clearance bin. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's what I started to know myself. Like, I think I like stories. I didn't even know myself, because when I got into fighting games, every time I got into a fighting game or Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. Every time I played each character to know their story because I wanted to know more stories. And I was like, you know what? I think that's what it was. I was an adventure guy. I liked stories. I should have played these games, and now like, wow, should have been playing these games for a long time. And then you kind of think about it, and like, wow, I should have done this a long time ago, and try out other games because you never know, you might end up trying them, especially with these indie games as well.
Oh yeah.
Did y'all ever have instances like that where it's like you didn't realize something was something until you played it years later?
Yeah, I get that. Like there was that time, what was that game? And I was like, man, how come I didn't play this before? I think it was the Zoids. It was the Zoid game, and I was like, I watched the anime. The anime was good. I was like,
Oh, the
they're
one on the
gonna make a
GameCube?
yeah. And actually, later on, I tested it out and I liked it. I was like, wow, this is actually pretty fun. I wish they could actually create like an online version of it so you can have versus. It would have been nice to see something like that and have like a big open world area where you can start fighting with Zoids or with other team members and kind of like a PvP thing going. I think that would have been cool, but they never got to that. But it was actually a pretty fun game. I think Bandai was the one that made it. If I'm
Think so.
Yeah, I have that. I have it for the Switch, but I haven't opened it yet. I still
Oh
need to
wow!
crack it open.
Oh yeah,
Check it
the
out,
newest
man.
one. Yeah. Well, like
I
I
there's
think it's like
this-
$20.
Yeah, there's the super fight. What is it? The super fighting robots or whatever. What is it? The
Oh yeah,
Super World
That one's-
Wars.
it's finally coming out.
Yeah, because like I didn't even. So one of my favorite movie, Japanese imported movies, is a movie called Gunhead. If you know anything about Toho and Godzilla and everything, Toho at the time was trying to figure out where they wanted to take Godzilla right after 1985. And had this story about Godzilla taking on the supercomputer. And things just didn't work out, but they still liked the idea, so they came up with this whole thing called Gunhead. Basically, it's a supercomputer that was building all this military weapons. World War III happens, and this computer actually declares war on the world. It's kind of like Skynet. Well, there's a battalion of these mechanized tanks that transform into robots. They're going into the island to take it out. Well, they fail completely. Well, it's been like a decade or so, and these group of bandits decide to raid the place because there hasn't been any activity on the island. They don't think there's anything wrong. Well, when they show up, they end up waking up this computer and starting all those problems again because they're actually looking for this item called Tex-Mexium, which is hilarious. It's just as bad as unobtainium from Avatar. And this series of things that happen where it basically leaves the main character, Brooklyn, who is a mechanic and not a pilot, who's claustrophobic, in a situation that has to like elevate him to be better so they can survive, and it's a good movie. It's a really great movie. I loved it. I mean, I remember watching it when I was like 10 or something when it came out. But what was cool was that ADV at the time, like in the early 2000s, had got the rights to it and did a dub version and released it on DVD. I have that DVD, but it hasn't been re-released on Blu-ray, which I'd love. But of course, ADV doesn't exist. It has been roped into Funimation. That's the thing right there. But which is funny because if you know anything about TurboGrafx, there is a game, was it Blazing Lasers, in Japan, is actually called Gunhead, and it actually takes place in the same universe as the movie. Little trivia there. It's when you get obsessed with stuff, you go look down the rabbit holes of like nonsense that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I do that too much.
I do that a lot. Yeah.
Is there anything that you're hoping to see in the C3 coming up that maybe Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, or any kind of indie thing that you would love to see something of going on?
Like from the consoles itself or the games?
No, games. I don't care
Games,
about consoles. I'm talking about games.
Man, I really hope honestly, for Street Fighter 6. I hope they
got
don't
the
make a
tease for that.
3D. Yeah, we got a 3D video, like a like a basically a cutscene of it. But if it's gonna be 3D again, I may not even try it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it has to be 2D. I want it to go back to like animation instead
Me
of
too.
this. Yeah.
Well,
Um,
it'd
I
be
was
good if
I was always hoping like Arc Systems would develop it or something, like a Guilty
yeah.
Gear kind
exactly
of style,
because even it's still
or
3D,
or
but
Dragon Ball.
it's done with cell shaded polygons, and
Yeah.
that would be fantastic for Street Fighter.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I have to look into it. If Cammy and Chun-Li are in it, I'm down for it, you know. Maybe some new characters in there. I've seen some of them, a new guy in there in that aspect. I do hope more Monster Hunter World. I would like to see more of that. That is awesome. That's a very fun game. I enjoyed it. What other game? Of course, I hoping for the 20th anniversary for Final Fantasy 11. I don't know what big surprise they have for that game. It's already a college student age. um, I'm not sure if it's going to be a remake. I know it's for sure it's going to be a new expansion, but I don't know. Like I said, the game has changed so much. Now it's more. They're now doing something with 11 and 14. So people who are single player gamers or people who are busy all the time, like for Vince, for example, can actually come and play an MMO and play it by himself. He doesn't have to team up with any other people. They're actually changing up things for players or for players who haven't played an MMO or who don't like MMO games. So they're making it where players who are single players can actually come and play it. I just want to see what they're going to have up for that, and hopefully, like I said, right now I'm playing Elden Ring. I'm actually enjoying it. It's super hard.
Yeah, I started playing it
You
too.
started playing it too. It's hard, but any other games that I can think of,
Okay. Well,
it's just those right now.
those right there. Okay, Mike.
Yeah.
Like I doubt they're gonna ever say anything about Metroid.
I know.
I have a feeling it's not gonna come out until like the next Nintendo comes out or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Bayonetta 3. I'm waiting for that too. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that.
I
Uh,
know.
let's see. Like I like how they're bringing some of these like Super Nintendo games that never came out to America finally. Like Live Alive. That's awesome. I hope they do the same thing for more games like Final Fantasy Tactics or something, or just other games that never came out as well.
Dragon
Well,
Quest.
yeah.
Dragon Quest
Yeah.
10, I think there's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dragon Quest. Yeah, 10 didn't come here, but that was an MMO or no?
Oh, in Japan, yeah, it's in Japan.
Yeah, they have. I think they have it in Switch in Japan, but it's like offline or something. I don't know. Oh boy.
Hopefully they come out with something good. Like I said, maybe. Like I said, I'm hoping Capcom brings it. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So
And,
here's the thing. I'll go. I want Bandai Namco to announce Tekken 8 for one.
Bandai Namco.
I want Tekken 8. That's
Oh, Tekken 8.
or Tekken Tag
Oh.
3.
Tekken.
One of the two,
Yeah.
or just I want a new Tekken. I mean,
Yeah.
7 is amazing and beautiful, and I can play that game forever. But I love a new Tekken.
Yeah. When is the E3 coming out?
Probably end of May, mid June. That first week of June, usually.
Yeah, June. Okay. That sounds like a perfect opportunity to release
Now,
some new things.
things I'd like to see. I'd love to see more stuff on Final Fantasy 7 Part 2. I actually would like to see more on 16 because at the moment with the trailer I got, I'm not interested at all.
Well,
it does not.
I think Yoshida talked about that. He spoke about bringing 16 this summer,
Yeah,
like this late summer. Yeah,
On
because
the PS5.
yeah, I think so. It's PS5.
it is PS5 and PC. It's gonna be the guy who created Devil May Cry, the combat style, is actually working on it. Yeah, I think he's gonna be working on that of this Final Fantasy 16.
I'd like Nintendo to announce the Metroid Prime Trilogy pack together with the ability to not have to play Metroid Prime 3 with a Wii remote, so I can play with a controller. I mean, you can do it. You did it with Skyward Sword. Why can't you do it with Metroid Prime?
Yeah.
But that's just me. I don't like having to use a peripheral when I play a game. I want a controller. I know it's going to get blurred out, but this is a fantastic controller, and I'd love to be able to utilize this more than going shoot.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
Sorry. But, wishful thinking things I love to see. I'd love to see Square Enix to go and say, hey, we're making Parasite Eve remake using the PlayStation. Using the Final Fantasy VII engine and having New York with like that with the creatures.
Dude.
I mean, yeah.
I hope so. That'd be nice.
I never leave the house.
Yeah, I know. I never would leave the house either.
That's one game I still want to get, this Final Fantasy VII remake. I just waiting
Breath
for
of
Steam.
Fire, Capcom going Breath of Fire 6 back to form, utilizing the engine from the Resident Evil engine. I mean, I want a Breath of Fire game. I mean, come on. I want to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm getting tired of these action game RPGs. Like, I love the Tales series, but the Tales series has always been an RPG action game. Versus like Final Fantasy, which used to be a turn-based game that now is an action game. If I'm going to play that, I'm going to play Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I love 7 and what they're doing with it. It's fine. It's good. I enjoy that game. It was my game of the year when it came out. It's fantastic. I want to keep seeing more of it, but I want my turn-based stuff.
You miss your turn-based stuff, yeah.
I don't want to have to just play, Octopath Traveler or what is it, Bravely Default 2. I want an actual full-on game that has whatever that I want to play.
Turn-based.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean,
you're like, you remind me of a meme. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm
an old man. I'm an old man. I want my own.
You see that meme with the old lady and then the girls grabbing her? Game used to be turn-based. Like, okay, Grandma.
Okay, Grandma.
I understand, because that's what a lot of people. I argue with people. It's like, what if they changed 11's turn-based way to something like where you have to actually push buttons, like, oh, I don't want to not 14, not like 14. And they always argue about that. And I was like, look, it may not be like 14. It may be like another type of a game, like Near World or any kind of game. You just smash a button, you do a combo like Ninja Gaiden. And here comes what is that game called? Stranger Paradise.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to that game because it had zones from Final Fantasy 1, even 11 zones that look super nice. I'm like, oh wow, that is beautiful. Looks like a beautiful game. Team Ninja.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they did. They're the ones that did Ninja Gaiden, and I love Ninja Gaiden. I mean, god damn, it's one game that I want to get into, really, honestly. I really hope so. I'm really hoping that they do bring out some really badass games. I know they're gonna bring a lot of these little kiddish games and these little party games. I'm like, okay, they're fun, I can't. And like Among Us is fun, you can enjoy that with friends. You can enjoy stuff like that, but
here's one for you.
Yeah.
Power Stone 3. That'd be fantastic.
Oh wow, Power Stone 3 was awesome, dude.
No.
Power Stone. I mean, if they bring it,
Stone, yes.
Now if they bring 3, but Power Stone itself was fun. That would be a fun game.
So okay, 2 questions, and we'll go ahead and wrap the podcast.
Right.
So, first one is, because we're all gamers, and has there been a moment that changed your life because of gaming? Just like, I have my example, and I'll go ahead and give mine to start it out, so that way you guys kind of go where I'm going with this. I played Final Fantasy 11 for a long time. I wanted to play that game because it was an MMO. I was like super hyped for it. It was Final Fantasy. It looked fantastic. I had like came up with ideas of how I wanted to, like, we were going to create a guild and we're going to create backstories for our characters, and we could do like this whole thing where we maybe tell stories. And I made a lot of friends because of it. But the biggest thing is that I met my wife. My wife played a Mithra white mage. I played a paladin human. And she was in the guild that we played in called Griffin Guild towards the end of the life of that guild, the link shell we had. And we would play, and she was like one of the bigger white mages in our group that would help us out and stuff like that. Well, my buddy Richard decided to have this meetup with all the Houston people that we're going to go to IHOP and eat. And so it was me and Richard, my sister who played, my sister's boyfriend at the time, who's ex-husband now. What else? And then our buddy Celeste, which we found out, we thought it was a girl, but we found it was a guy. And then, because it's funny, because when you're playing online and stuff, you have these personas, you don't know what people are because you don't have voice chat. We were just playing the game, and we would just be chatting back and forth, typing and everything. So we had and there was going to be Berdine and I don't remember her brother's character name or her cousins. So when Anna showed up, I didn't know. I didn't know any of these people other than Richard and stuff. So, but when I met my wife, I just had this feeling I knew her. I'd seen her before. Like we'd been friends forever. There was that connection. And the funny thing is, my sister felt that way, and so did my wife and her brother and her cousin. It was like, there's moments where you intervene in time with people that you're almost like destined to be with.
I'll go
And
after.
it's kind of trying to think. I don't know. That impacted me. Like, I'd say video games had a big influence on my love or fondness for pop culture, and it made me more cultured, and it made me like want to learn more about stuff like Japan, like and learning anime, manga. Man, I don't know.
It's all right.
I
if you
don't
think of something else, you're welcome after Jose.
Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. I'll keep telling you. All I have to say with Vince, 11 was the one that impacted me the most. 11 was something special to me. So Square Enix, if you're actually checking this out, we are Vanadale. We are part of that genre. And I come from fighting games. I come from other MMOs before. Yeah. So to me, I met my other half there, and now she's my best friend. I'm actually went to the Dominican Republic to go visit her. We eloped. It was a shotgun marriage. Everything worked out. Eventually things got, distance was the problem. Money was another problem too. And it was just insecurities because we're so far away, and I was working. That's when I start to leave Walmart to work at Bank of America. And that's when a lot of stuff happened. But then again, we had a lot of good memories, more than bad ones. And 11 was one of the places that we actually communicated, we talked. And then we didn't have Discord. We didn't have nothing. We actually called each other. I had to go buy a little card to talk to her. I remember she called me, wake me up. Hey, it's time for Dynamis. Are you coming? Goes, yeah. Because I was their main tank. And I was the ninja tank. And I was actually ninja was a Hume. She was actually an Elvon. And then she was playing on her brother's PS2. And then she got her own her own PS2. She became a Hume white mage. And she was one of the best healers I ever had. That was one of the best tanks. And I usually tanked everything. I usually claimed the notorious monsters, and we made money together. Me and her made money, and we sold like the rarest items we had. She was all geared out. Everybody wanted to join our link show. I ended up having a link show. We met some friends. I remember we actually went to go to one of our first Vanna Fest. It was a festival for Vanadale. I wish I knew Vince actually played. I would have actually joined him. But then again, if I didn't join Vince, I would not have met her. And till today, we are actually still friends. We talked, actually think about getting back together because we actually connected back, and I want to say we connected back 7 8 years ago. We actually played Final Fantasy 14. I do main that because a lot of my friends are now in 14. Some of them still playing 11. I go back here and there and still do my own thing. Now it's easier to solo there, so it's a lot of very convenient just to go there and do my own thing. But man, 11 was just a thing. If they ever remade that, I definitely will go back to it and just relive the whole thing, the whole story again, and bring her with me. Maybe they can add some stuff in there again because she's enjoying right now 14. She loves the new races, and I like it. But it was an old PS2 game. It was just those memories that were there, the adventures we had, the friends we made, the people we met, because we met a lot of people in that game. We strangers, and we always typed to each other. Until one day, we got into what was that chat that we got into? Not Ventrilo. Was it Ventrilo? It was Skype. Skype was another one that we actually connected.
Because Skype wasn't owned by Microsoft at the time.
No,
Trello was the other one.
And Trello.
My buddy James would know, and I can't remember because he got.
I can't remember. It was another one. It was Ventrilo or Skype. I know we ended up talking in there, and we all connected to each other, and we talked about our characters. We made up stories of our characters. Like my character came from the Far East, and he really doesn't look like that because of course, the character customization was not that good in 11. But
yes, he had like two different types of different humans or
types,
or the hair types and stuff.
The hair types, yeah, that's all you had. But I just made up stories that he's just wearing a disguise. He has actually have black hair, and he comes from the Far East. I just made up stories like that, and we used to laugh at each other. We just bullshit, and we just sit down in a campfire, and where the goblins at? Or when there was no goblins, we'll just sit there and just chat and talk and type away. And if not that, we get into chat and we talk to each other through Skype, and we just camp for a notorious monster. Okay, here comes Rock is about to pop soon. So just chilling here of it until it pops. And if we had competition, we just run around. And of course, we ended up getting money. We ended up making more friends. Some people say, "Hey, can I join you guys?" And yeah. And he goes, "I just want to get that title." It's like, "Yeah, that's fine. Join us. If it drops, I'll let you pass." I go, all right, that's fine. And then eventually, hey, if you ever join us again, next drop, he goes, "You can have it, or we can sell it, and we can split the deal." We ended up talking to each other, making more friends. It was one of those games that was enjoyable. New version of 11, a lot of people quit because of the new version of 11, but of course, a lot of them still play. The new version is a lot more convenient now.
More
friendly for single player. Yeah, it's more friendly for single players, and it's faster. I love it. It's a lot faster than what it was back then. It was slow. I don't think it will survive today because if I played it now, I'd probably be like this. Playing. I mean, honestly, I did fall asleep in it. There was quite a times that I did fall asleep in the game. Not gonna lie, it was slow. It was boring. But after a while, it wasn't that boring. You had a friend, and you talk to those people, and you connected. That's what I love about that. But yeah, here you go, Mike. I gave you the chance now, man.
Oh man, I don't know if MySpace counts, but I met one of my girlfriends through there.
Yeah.
I don't know, we at the time, I guess, like we played I don't know, we didn't play too many video games then. Now we actually do. We've been broken up for a while, but we still talk to each other too. We're still mutual, and
Yeah.
but we play Animal Crossing and stuff like that every now and then. There's that. Man, other than that, Yeah, I'm pretty much single player. I don't know, most of the time.
Single player guy all the time. Yeah.
Well, I did like. I mean, there were times when I had Halo and I'd have like LAN parties and I'd have like
Yeah.
a bunch of people come over and stuff. And my own apartment. Oh man, well, I had fun then.
You have Call of Duty days, Halo,
Call of
all that
Duty
stuff.
days.
Yeah, that's all stuff we would do too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I played the heck out of Call of Duty. But man, I was so like die hard. Like I played like every version up until like this last one. I didn't. This was like the first one I didn't buy was Vanguard. I kind of gave up. I don't know.
Sorry.
It's just I just got bored with it finally. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's that. I picked up. Okay, so I have a weird relationship with Call of Duty.
Mhm.
I'll play with my friends and everything, but I'll always play it on the hardest difficulty. Every Call of Duty game that's ever come out, I've played it on the hardest difficulty and beat it. I don't know. I just like the punishment, I guess.
Yeah.
But and I did that for Cold War, and I was like, okay, well, I didn't even know about Vanguard. I was like, I totally missed it. I just was like, everything else was going on in my life and other games that were going on. Plus, I was doing this podcast thing, and I just wasn't paying attention to what the new Call of Duty was. I'm still thinking like Cold War was the newest one. But
Yeah.
Oh man, you're way behind now. Yeah.
Now they're taking time off to
which is
Yeah.
good.
make
They
the
need to
next
take
one.
time off. What they need to do, and I did talk about this in the podcast that, okay, so my podcast is going up for the Video Game Dust Leaves stuff tomorrow. So, and it's funny, I'm going to rehash a question I had asked them in there and here, but I talked about like how that I feel that Activision needs to acquire the license from Hasbro for G.I. Joe.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Just to make G.I. Joe, Call of Duty G.I. Joe, or Operation.
Oh my
Operation G.I.
god,
Joe.
that would be fun.
And then just
Yeah.
like, there you go. You have Cobra and you have G.I. Joe, and it's just, it works.
It does.
Why
Yeah.
can I play?
It would
All
be
the
fun.
crazy classes you could.
Yeah,
That would
I mean,
be
like
yeah.
play as Snake Eyes, commando class, and you got a knife, a sword as one of your weapons and stuff.
To
Being able to set up
assassinate.
traps and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm like, the possibilities are endless. Why can't you guys do this? Why do we have to get BS G.I. Joe games when you could make the greatest G.I. Joe game ever?
It
Yeah,
wouldn't be that
for sure.
hard. Like
No,
they could
it
have
wouldn't.
blowtorch.
Mhm.
No.
whatever.
Yeah.
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 But you know what? A lot of these video games, I noticed that it has like in the way how you can affect everybody. Sometimes it may affect you where you can start making your own stories or drawing. I think that's one of the reasons why I got into storytelling and more of a drawing as well because of 11.
Mhm.
Not just 11, but other video games as well got into it. I think that's another thing that I want to mention, that what it affects a person, how it impacts you. And it
Yeah.
just makes you want to, like me personally, there's times that I want to travel. I want to go out. I want to be like that real adventure and actually go visit places. I've gone to, Cancun, Mexico. I've gone to the Dominican Republic, and I travel. Learned about the history there. I want to do it again because it actually feels good to actually feel like a real adventure.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get this down to the last question here, and we'll wrap up the podcast. If you guys won the lottery for, I don't know, close to a $500 million or whatever, or just say you inherited $1 billion, right? I don't even think you need that much, but just whatever. No, I'll go back. You won the lottery for the max amount. What game would you make?
I know what game I will make.
And this
Added
could
on it.
be anything. If there's a property you feel that needs and deserves a video game, list it. If it's a movie that needed a video game that never got a video game, that could be it. If it's a game that needs to be made that was never made, or a sequel that needs to be made, So, all right, I posed that question to you guys. Let's
Go ahead, Mike. I'll let Mike go first on that one.
Oh man.
I just blew his mind.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna pay my bills first, then I'll make.
I think we'd all do.
Man. God, I'm stumped. I don't know.
The funny thing is, I stumped them too. But what's funny is this episode's going to go out like 2 weeks from now, and they can go, "Oh, hey, cool! I can go back to this episode." Or if they watch that episode, they can come back and go, "Ah, I see what he's doing here. He stumped them there too."
Yeah. I know what I will do. If I'm gonna go ahead and give Mike a chance to think there, but I know what I will do if I ever want that, of course.
Well,
I will-
go ahead and go. So that way you can. That way it gives Mike more time to kind of think about it.
Yeah. There's two things. I will put some money and donate to Square Enix. Hey, buy out BioWare, buy out Capcom. Here you go and you buy them out. I don't know if they. I don't think 500 million will be enough because they just
I don't even think $1 billion would be enough.
I don't billion. I don't think it would. But I'll probably remake 11. I will tell her I'm going to give y'all 10 million to remake 11. Here's 15, 20 million. Remake it. If not that, I will make another game referencing Final Fantasy, but it won't be a Final Fantasy game. It'll be an MMO or maybe a single player. It'll first be a single player game, and it will lead up to the MMO game because it will be single player games, different versions of these single player games leading up to one MMORPG game in the future, and it will be an adventure where, for example, it'll be one. And I had a story, and it was a dream actually. I dreamed that in this world, I'm a human being. You know, I live everyday life, and one day I stumbled upon this rare thing that happened, and this crystal dropped from the sky, you know, like a comet and stuff. And of course, it takes me to another world, and a world where there's aliens, but these aliens are not looking like aliens. There's ones that look like elves. There's some that look like little children, like Tartaru, or a feline like a Mithra. It'll be referencing that to that, but it will lead into the single player games to an MMO, and I would like to put like a story into that. And it was weird because I had dreams like that. I have dreams that never, like I said, I was like, I know I didn't watch Star Wars, but I didn't know I didn't play Final Fantasy that day. Why did I dream about being in this world? And I actually going to outer space and seeing these races actually exist in their own worlds, but we're meeting into this other world because we got to save the galaxy or something like that. Something like Star Wars, but it'll be something more
I was about
meaty.
to say, because when you sit there and said you didn't watch Star Wars, I'm like, that's blasphemy on this channel.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love Star Wars, dude.
Sorry.
I love Star Wars, but it was weird because the dream I had it was weird because it was dreaming about a world being attacked by this certain other race, and the only people who can save it are these warriors of light, and they were from different worlds, and we never seen each other, and when we finally see each other, we're like, wow, you're different, but it's an elven or an elf, and this other guy is a little short guy, and we come from these different worlds that we're all part of. It's just, and it's like I could make something like that.
Okay.
It'll be different, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Mike, you still stumped, or you got?
Well, like the thing about you said about GI Joe and Call of Duty, I had that idea too, like a long time ago. But it's like something like isn't there going to be a new Armored Core?
Yes.
Or
yes.
Yeah, I would love to see a new Armored Core, especially done in a style like open world. Seeing how Elden Ring is, like, man, just a much grander with more missions, and I don't know, like you could find parts and different quests, and I don't know. I think with a lot of wars going on, I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Something interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to give a different answer than I did in that podcast. You have to watch that podcast to get the other answer I said. Because I actually have a lot of good ideas for video games that I should have been a game developer with a lot of money. But here's my pitch. Pokemon the MMO
That I had that and I
with zones, and you have like PvP tournaments where you play against Pokemon trainers and you go up against Elite Four, and then you go to different regions and get those badges too. And it's all online where like there's notorious Pokemon that only appear at certain times at certain areas. So you got to travel there. And as you level up your trainer, you level up your Pokemon too. And you get new skills as a trainer. And then you have friends. And it's just like, why isn't this being done?
Exactly. That sounds like a fun. I would definitely play that.
That's what if I had the money to do that, that's what I would have developed as a Pokemon MMO. And then you could have different servers because because if you don't want kids to play with adults, you can have kids playing on their own servers and adults playing on their servers.
Yeah.
Age verification, it works.
Yeah.
And then that way the us that wants to be the very best that no one ever was, and we can catch them as sorry. I'm gonna go with the whole song here, but I shouldn't.
Yeah.
But no, I the closest we've gotten so far is what looks like could be an MMO is Legend of Arceus, and I really would love. I don't know why Game Freak and Nintendo have decided to do an MMO, but it would be the best cash flow they could ever do.
Yep, that's true.
It would be I was telling my friends back then, and every time I would like tell them like and describe how wonderful this game would be and like all the things that could be done, be like, but Vince, that would be the end of all video games. Everybody would just want to play Pokemon. They wouldn't want to play anything else. And I'm like, I know exactly. It just needs to be done, and we could be playing Pokemon.
Exactly. On the Switch, you can go anywhere, play it anywhere with your friends. I mean, I agree with
it's like Sword Art Online, but you're just trapped inside the Pokemon universe.
Yeah.
I could do it.
Yeah, I can do it.
It's the best weight loss I'll ever have in my life.
Exactly. You could travel. Man, I kid you not. We'll be VR that thing. Oh my God. None of our friends were here from us again, dude. I'll tell you that. None of them.
But I'll tell you this though, I did have Jose knows this. I would sit there and like come up with games back in the day. Like I had my own fighting game designed that I just didn't know how to do programming to do it. And I had like characters with their moves and everything and what it was going to be. But of course it would have been 2D art. It wouldn't have been polygon. It would have been 2D art.
Not only that, dude, if we had that money, we'd probably take our asses to school and learn.
True. Very true.
We can go back to school and learn.
You would have the time to be able to do that. Right now we have the time of you work for somebody else, they give you money, and then you can buy more things to occupy your time, which takes away from you bettering yourself and me.
Yeah. If I had that money, I'll be honest, I'll better myself.
Yeah. I would
make my own gym, go back to school full time. And then when I come home and do all my homework, I'll play games on the side time while I'm, making up something or like I said, filmmaking was another thing I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to do it. Yep. Filmmaking, writing a story, whatever.
So, all right, guys, anything you want to say as we wrap up before anything?
Mike?
Thanks for watching. For those.
All right, no, that's all right.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, no problem.
I was going to say this. Yeah, I do, man. I got to say something.
Right.
Nintendo, you got an opportunity to make it a Pokemon MMO. You heard this guy. You already heard him. You better do it. I will play your game. I will hand you a monthly fee, $15 a month, $12 or $13 a month. I don't care. I will do it. Second of all, we are Vanadale. Square Enix, you heard that. We still love Final Fantasy XI. It is a big memory thing. Keep it alive. Remake the game. Make it to modernize. Kind of mix in with the old and the new together, because we have a lot of people who like the old style and a lot of people and more people who love the new style. So maybe they can do something like that. Another thing, Capcom. Come on, man.
Where's that Darkstalkers?
There's that Darkstalkers. Where's that 2D? I want a 2D version of Street Fighter 6 or 7 in the future. I like the 3D. Don't get me wrong. It's great. I did a great job. We need some more. We need more Monster Hunter World. I like Monster Hunter World. That was really fun. Maybe one day make an MMO RPG out of that. That sounds pretty fun. Yeah, you can do something like that. Resident Evil. That's another game. I like to see more
Go
Resident
back
Evil
to
games.
third person, please.
Yes, go back to third person, please.
That-
That'd be great. Another thing, happy for 14 is great. I'm glad they're moving for new things. I'm glad. Hopefully they do the same with 11. So whatever it is, hope y'all cooking something good at these companies. And like I said, Nintendo, don't forget what I said. That's all I gotta say.
I just remember there's a couple games I want to see them come out with, like especially for the Switch. Like when like since Capcom's coming out with that fighting compilation, they should go ahead and make a Marvel one for all the Marvel Street Fighter games.
Yeah.
And God, like why haven't they re-released Capcom versus SNK like 2? Like it's been forever. Like
Dude, they're
man,
actually flirting with them lately. I don't know. So that's something
I
we
know
might
that
see.
they had like the second card game coming out for the Switch, which never came out to America.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
That's a whole podcast on its own. But why aren't we doing Capcom? When you do version 2 or volume 2 of this fighting collection, it's the Polygon games, Street Fighter EX plus Alpha. It's the rival schools in Project Justice. It's Power Stone 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Where are these games? Why can't we have them? Come on, guys, do it. You can do it. Just do it. I will give you money. And there's millions upon millions that will do the same thing. Just do it. But all right, guys. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Miketendo, thank you for coming on. Warrior of Light. And then, of course, the Vintage Gamer Boy. Thank you for being on the podcast with us. We enjoyed having you on. We hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Descriptions for their links will be down below in the description. If you like this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to make this show better and, bring on good people and people and follow as well. It's the only way I'm going to get better at speaking and having an actual good ending for everything. But I pose this question. If you made it this long to the end of the show, if you won the lottery, what game would you have made? Tell us below. Until then, have a good one, everyone. Later.